What's going on, guys? Neal Guides here. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video I'm going to show you how to use the 3-5-2, the new meta 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. Of course, I'll be going over the tactics and instructions, and don't forget this is attacking but balanced formation that would apply to all the players. So if you copy these tactics, they should work for you. Now, the reason why the 3-5-2 is such a good formation, if you watched my video last year, you know that the left mid and the right mid, they act as wingers. So when you go forward, they're attacking wingers, but when you defend, they act as left backs and right backs. That's what makes the formation so dynamic, that defensively and also attacking, you're stable on both ends. When you defend in a 5-3-1-1. Left mid and right mid, they come back, they create the left back and right back roles. One of your striker drops in deep to create the midfield presence in the middle three. And that's what creates defense stability at the back when your opponent has the ball. But when you win the ball back and you go forward, your deadly counter-attack formation ends up becoming a 5-striker formation. The left mid and right mid, they end up becoming wingers. They go forward in their own lane, and that's what creates the 5-striker front. Now the question you may ask is, so why is this more meta than the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation? Well, as you can see right now, this is the 3-5-2. But outlined, you can actually see within the 3-5-2 formation, you have the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation spine. But the difference is you have a left mid and right mid. This is why it's better than the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, because the left mid and right mid, they can act as wingers. That comes into play with hug the sidelines, but we'll get on to that later on. But the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, the left backs and right backs, when they go forward, they just stand there. They do nothing. But with the 3-5-2, they act as actual wingers. You can ask them getting behind, cut inside, get forward, and they create more goal scoring chances. So we're going to go through the tactics now. Don't forget, if you do like this video, you can subscribe to my channel for more content like this on a weekly basis and a daily basis for tutorials. Do not forget, I got a second channel where I do have other squad builders, and also I stream on twitch.tv/Neal Guides Monday to Friday 1 PM UK time, where I'll be reviewing your clips. So come to my stream at 1 PM, you can submit your clip with a YouTube clip, I can go through and analyze it for you, of course for free, and that way you can have a good insight, maybe learn something from FIFA. Don't forget, Monday to Friday, every single day of the week, 1 PM UK time. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video, and of course all social media links that I mentioned are all down below. Now, going over the tactics, it's very important that you copy the exact tactics that I say, because there's a specific system to why this works, and I'll explain that in a second. So defensive style, I would recommend balanced. You may see other formation videos talk about using any of these. I would completely advise against it, especially after the most recent patch. Pressure on heavy touch may be the only thing that you can use, but unless you're like a Division 1 Gold 1 player plus, do not use it. Most of the time it will cost you more. You're better just using team press when you need to, but pressure on every touch is very risky, especially with 3 defenders. I'll get on to that in a second. In terms of the width, we have gone one less. We've gone with a width of 4. Don't forget, you're naturally playing in a 3-5-2, but don't forget you're defending in a 5-3-1-1. Now, obviously, naturally speaking, with 5 defenders, it's quite a wide formation, especially when you're defending, you don't have the ball, so you don't want to be too wide to create spaces on the outside. You're already quite wide as it is, so you can go one less and go with a width of 4. Now, going with the depth, because this is attacking formation, we have gone with a depth of 6. Now, of course, you can change this if you want to, but you already have 5 defenders, you've got 3 midfielders, you're already quite defensive, so there's no need to basically sit back the entire game. You can basically have the ball further up the pitch. When you lose the ball, it's better to have a higher depth in the first place so you can win the battle in midfield. Don't forget, you've got numerical advantage in midfield. That's the kind of the key position you want to exploit against your opponent. So stay in a 3-5-2, stay compact when you don't have the ball, but at least be high up the pitch. That way you can win the ball easier and eventually score more goals and ultimately win more games. Now, going over to defensive style, this is the important one. It's long ball. Now, the reason why you want long ball is when you get the ball back, you want everyone to run forward. In particular, your left mid and your right mid. You want these guys to run forward. Now, what makes them so different and so special in this formation is they're basically independent. They're basically independent from your 4-1-2-1-2 spine, and they attack down the wings, and that's what kills your opponent, because he can't defend against it. He doesn't know, do I go to the wing area or do I stay more centralized? That is why long ball is really important. Long ball just means getting behind. So your players, when you get the ball back, or when you do have the ball, they're going to make runs going forward. That is what's very, very important. Now, going over to the width, we've gone with a width of 6. Don't forget, the width is not that important, because the left mid and right mids are going to be isolated anyway when they go forward, because you want them to be very wide. But the reason we went with a higher width is because the central 4-1-2-1-2 second variation is not that wide. The spine of the team is not that wide. You don't want them to be too close together. So we're trying to separate that, so that way you can have good passing options. You're not going to be secluded against your opponent, especially if you're using team press when you do have the ball. In terms of players in the box, I've reduced this down to 3. I'll explain that in a second, because we're gonna have some instructions to override this. but also when your opponent has the ball and you win the ball back, when you go forward, sometimes your opponent might be parking the bus. You want players to get inside the box, but you don't want everyone running inside. So you want some players, that way you don't want to get countered again. And don't forget, when you're attacking, you only have 3 defenders, so you don't want to take that risk of losing the ball. And that's why we've gone with the corners and free kicks on 1 as well. Now going over to the instructions, do not forget when you're defending, these guys, they come back. That's what creates the backline 5. Now one of your strikers, he comes back and he makes the midfield 3. Now why did I do that? Now if you watched my video last year, you could actually defend in a 5-4-1. They released a patch that meant that you couldn't do that anymore. But the key thing is when you bring your striker on comeback on offense, when he goes forward, he creates that attacking option when you're counter-attacking, number 1. And number 2, more importantly, is that you keep your cam and your striker in a parallel line. I'll explain that in a second, but that's better for build-up play. So the way we do this is we have the striker on stay central, come back on offense. So when you're defending, he'll basically make the 3rd midfielder. So in this situation, he'll be the left centre mid. You'll have one of your CDMs in the middle and your other one as a right CDM. So that's what makes the midfield 3. We have both the strikers on stay central though. So when you do get the ball and you do have possession, they're in the middle. In terms of the other striker, we have them on stay forward and balanced. This is very important. You copy these exact instructions. For the one that gets in behind, and obviously that comes back in defense, we have getting behind as well. So when he does come back and he does go forward, he makes those attacking runs going forward. Now for the cam, we have him on stay forward. So this is what I meant by the parallel lines. We want these 2 players to stay in line with each other, so when you get the ball back, at least you can then switch to your cam or switch to your striker. Now if you put your cam on comeback on offense, he won't do much, he'll just basically stand there. But if you put the striker on comeback on offense, it ends up creating that compact block, and that way there's no gaps in your midfield. That's what's very, very important. There's no gaps in your midfield. We left him on stay forward, and I would say he's the key position in your team. I just want to say, if you do want to get better at FIFA, I do have a paid advanced in-depth FIFA School Series. This is for all levels of those that want to improve in FIFA. This is different from YouTube videos. It's a progressive learning system where all the videos go completely in depth, and you won't find these videos on my YouTube channel. These go beyond the scope of typical YouTube videos. They're very long, elaborate videos explaining what you need to do and what you need to become a better game, explaining everything. So come join hundreds of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better at FIFA. Link is in the description for more information. Patreon.com/Neal, guys. Of course, I have all of last year's videos as well, which all apply to this year, and I'll have new videos coming soon for FIFA 21. And it's a complete money back guarantee. So if after 1 month you decide that you didn't get better at FIFA, I'll refund your money back, and that way you won't lose anything. So come join the FIFA School Series. But anyway, back to the video. For both the CDMs, we put them both on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover center. I think this is really, really important. If you want to make this more attacking, what you can do is you can put stay back. You can leave one of these on balance instead of stay back while attacking. But I'd recommend just copying it exactly like this as it goes on. Now we're going to go over to the most important thing, the left mid and right mids. Now, both the left mid and right mid are on comeback and defense. So when you're defending, that's what makes them come back in that 5 defender line. So obviously come back on offense. You have them to get inside the box. Remember I said to you in terms of tactics, there's not that many players getting inside the box because we're overriding this with instructions. That means when you get the ball over here or down the wing, your opposite side will run inside the box. That is very, very important. We do have conservative interceptions, something that I adopted from last year. In my 3-5-2, it was extremely important that your players don't go out of position. This year, players, especially left backs and right backs and left mids and right mids, when they go forward, they're always caught out of position. There's no point taking a risk. Leave these on conservative, but also this helps your stamina. These guys will be running up and down the entire game, up and down, up and down. You need someone that's got good stamina here. So you need to put conservative interceptions. That way you save them, because otherwise 80 minutes, these guys are going to be tired and they're going to be completely dead. You'd rather have stamina the entire game. So leave them on conservative, and that way they don't go out of position. We have them on getting behind as well. So when you do have the ball, when they're left backs and right backs, they'll make those darting runs going forward, of course. And another final thing that's important, leave chance creation on balance. Now, don't forget, they're going to be as wide as possible. How does that happen? Well, the way you do this is you activate the hug the sidelines tactic in game. So you press up on your D-pad, then you press right, and you activate hug the sidelines. You should be using hug the sidelines the entire game. So that means that your midfield line, or I suppose you can say your narrow 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, they stay very central. And left mid and right mid, they're very isolated, but that gives you options down the wings. And that means that your left mids and right mids are always going to be open when you're going forward. So it's very important that you leave them on balance. Do not put stay wide on, just put them on hug the silence. You can always turn hug the silence off in the game if you don't like it, but make sure you leave this on balanced. In terms of the back three, we have them all on stay back while attacking. What is the most important thing in this entire team out of everything is that in this position you have to make sure you got two very fast players. They'll be playing as left backs and right backs when you're defending, but you can put wingers here. Players like Hakimi, Atal are very, very good. But as long as these players are fast and got good stamina, that's what's the most important thing for both the left mid and the right mid. That is the most important thing. Pace and stamina. Two CDMs, you want someone like Kante, someone like Fred. I would say a good combination of someone that's defensive and someone that's decent. Someone like KDB is also good alongside Kante, or someone like Sissoko and Fred. Those are two good combinations, Renato Sanchez and Kante. I would say a defensive and a kind of a bit more defensive, but it can also bring the ball going forward. For your back three, in my honest opinion, you need to have fast players here. You cannot use someone like Virgil van Dijk in this position. In fact, I would say you have to use a fullback in both the left centre-back and the right centre-back roles. Why? If you lose the ball in the counter-attack, you're only going to have three defenders. They need to be able to run back and cover the through balls down the wing. So as I always mention, you need to be playing fullbacks in these roles. In fact, I'd recommend the entire back three to have fullbacks. It's very, very important. If you don't do this, if you use Virgil van Dijk in this position, maybe you can get away with it, but these guys need to be fast. I would say all these players, minimum sprint speed 85 without shadow. I honestly really mean that. You can get away without using shadow and maybe use like centre backs there, but it's not going to be fun when you get counter-attacked. We know how counter-attacks are this game. If you want to play this formation and you want to win with it, you need fast players to recover. That's what's very, very important. The only other thing I would say is with the other striker that comes back in defence, you do need someone who's got decent stamina over here as well. So try to find someone who's got good stamina. It's not the end of the world. If you want to, you can put this player also on conservative interceptions if you really, really struggle. But if you don't put someone like Dembele in this role, you want to put someone here who, for example, these two players are fine, but this guy, he needs to have high stamina because he's going to be coming back and going forward. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget I do stream on twitch.tv/NealGuides 1 PM UK time. Link is in the bio. And don't forget as well, I've got a second channel, Neal Guides 2. Now, I'm actually going to start releasing my tactics videos a bit early on that channel, just to give you a bit of a feedback. So I'll release a tactics video. You guys can give me some feedback on it, just to give me your thoughts as well, because I kind of have like a private group that tests my formations for me. But it might be good if you guys want to use it, and that way you can use it before it actually gets released as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.